grade 2 and grade 3. I'm so thankful that you decided to join me for some math today. All right, so get your booklet, get a pencil, turn on your math brain, and let's get started. All right, today we're working on the data management strand of our math curriculum. So we are going to work through this today. So I know you've all seen tally marks before. So we're going to read the instructions and find out what we have to do. So it says, here are the results of a survey on favorite pets. Complete the chart and answer the questions about the results. So a survey is when you go around and ask questions of people to find out what they think about something. Whatever you're trying to figure out, you go and you ask them questions about it. So the question they asked is probably about what is your favorite pet. Okay, so these were the responses from people. And so let's complete the chart together. So we're going to count our tallies. Remember, if they are like this with the line across, it's a group of 5. So let's count. 5, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 people who pick dogs as their favorite. Cat. 5 plus 4 is 9. There are 9 people who picked cat as their favorite. 5 plus 3, there are 8 people who picked hamster as their favorite. And then 3, there are 3 people who have a bird as their favorite pet. So it's asking first, what was the most popular pet? So the most popular pet is the one with the highest number of votes, highest number of people who said it was their favorite, and that is dog at 12. So we would write D-O-G. All right, what was the least popular pet? So that means the pet that people didn't pick quite as much. And the smallest number of responses was for the bird. Sorry, birdie. B-I-R-D. All right, how many students chose either a dog or a bird? So we look, and to figure that out, we have to add the number for dog and the number for bird. So there were 12 plus 3. So 12 plus 3, 2 and 3 is 5, and there's a 10 there, so it's 15. 15 students. We add the 2 together, and that tells us how many chose either a dog or a bird. All right, number 4. How many more students chose a cat than a hamster? So we're going to look, when we say how many more, they're asking us to find the difference. Now remember, if we're going to find the difference, we're going to subtract. So we're going to take the bigger number, subtract the smaller number, and that'll tell us the difference between the two numbers. Okay, that difference word just means the answer in subtraction. So we're going to look at cat and hamster. So there were more cats than hamsters. So we're going to go number of cat people, take away number of hamster people. Now 9 take away 8 is 1. So 1 student difference. The difference, there was 1 more student that picked cat. All right, how many fewer students chose cat than a dog? So how many fewer students chose cat than dog? So we're going to check again, dog and cat, we need to find the difference between the two. It's asking the same thing. So we're going to pick dog is 12, and we're going to subtract 9 for the cat. 12 subtract 9 is 3. 3 fewer students chose cat than dog. All right, now we're going to move on to our brain stretch. Brain stretch. Got to move my paper up. I figured out a way to stack my phone on top of Harry Potter books to make sure that my phone isn't moving around as much, and hopefully that makes it a little easier for you to see. I'm sorry for the shadows, but it's better than a shaky phone. All right, so Catherine picked 65 apples and 76 pears. Wow, Catherine was busy. How many pieces of fruit did she pick in all? Okay, so if we're trying to find out the words, did she pick in all? Usually when we hear those words, it means how many altogether, which, think about it, what would you do to figure out what 65 and 76 are all together? Think about it. Right, you would add. So let's add 65 plus 76. All right, I am going to add using Grandma and Grandpa's way today. So 5, I'm actually going to change the color of my pen because then you can really see the work that I'm doing versus the question, okay? So then you can kind of see the steps a little better. So I'm going to switch to my fancy pen. Green's probably too close. Let's pick pink so it'll really stand up. Okay, 5 plus 6 is 11. So I put my 1 there, and then my extra 10 I just put up there so I don't forget about it. Okay, now 6 plus 7, well, we could add 6 plus 7, but I also have this 1. So why don't I make it 7 plus 7, because 6 plus 1 is 7. 7, these together are 7, plus 7, what's double 7? Right, it's 14. So my total is 141 fruits. She was busy. I wonder what Catherine's going to do with all those fruit. What would you do with 141 pieces of fruit? Maybe she could share it with her family. Maybe she could bake some kind of a crumble. Catherine picked 141 pieces. Remember when you write the word piece like a little piece of something, it's pieces of fruit in total. So I've responded with a sentence. All right, now my photocopying got a little messed up. So right down here is the instruction for the next page. Sorry about that. But it says in and out machines. If the rule is times 2, can you figure out how to fill in the missing numbers? So we're going to look over on the next page, it's like pages, for the in and out machines. So you should see this on your next page. In and out machines. Now, sometimes kids get confused by in and out machines. That's why I'm glad you've tuned into the video, because I'm going to explain it and then it'll make sense to you and it won't be confusing anymore. So, in and out machines, imagine that this is like a robot. Okay, here's my robot. And the thing that this robot does is it multiplies numbers. So, the rule, if I look on my last page, the rule is times 2, okay? So the rule is times 2. So anything that goes in, we double it times 2 to go out. So if I put 3 in, I need to double it. I need to do times 2 to get it out. So 3 times 2, the out number would be 6. Now 0, remember, and we did talk about this in class, but this is new. Anytime you see 0 in a multiplication for the product, remember, product is the answer, you have to assume that it was 0, because 0 times anything is 0. So this is always going to be 0. It's a special number for multiplication. And just imagine that in my hand, I have 2 groups of 0. Well, I do, because 2 groups of 0 is 0. I have 2 groups of 0 in my hand. Whereas if I had 2 groups of 1, just let me grab my dice here, my nice counters. Or maybe let's do 2 groups of 2. If I had 2 groups of 2 in my hand, you could see them, right? There's 2, don't mind what the dots are saying, but I have 2 dice and 2 dice. Right? I have something to multiply, but if I have 0, I can multiply it, multiply as many times as I want, but there's still nothing. There's still 0 there. Okay, so the next one, if I have 2, okay, well, I have to think what's the opposite of doubling is halving. So I have 2, and I want to split it into 2 groups, right? Because it's 2 times. So that means that it was 1 times 2. Now, I'm going to throw some math talk at you. So I just wanted to say, you're putting a factor in. Now, this doesn't matter too much right now, but it's good to know these words because they're going to, as you go along in your multiplication, you're going to see them more. And you're getting out the product, which is what the answer is called in multiplication, the product. Okay, now 8, I put it 8 in as my factor, and I double that to get 16. For this one, 4. I put 4 in as my factor. I double 4 to get my product because it's times 2. So I do 2 groups of 4. I double it to get 8. All right, let's move on to our next one. And we've got factors in and products out. Remember those words, factors in, products out. Now, for this one, I'm going to count out using dice, just so you can see what I'm doing. Because if I say, oh, I split 10 in half, well, that's really great, Mrs. Oakes, but what does that mean? So I'm going to get and I'm just going to set them all to 1, because that's less confusing. I'm going to get a group of 10, and I'm going to use arrays to help me explain this to you. So we've been doing arrays all week. Here is another array for you. So I have a group of 10. And I have to think, how could I make this group of 10 using 2 equal parts, right? Because it's 2 times table. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 10. That's my product. Now, I know that my rule is times 2. So I'm going to split my product, my number 10, into 2 equal groups. And that's going to tell me what I put into my machine, right? Because I put a number into my machine. And I could say, okay, just half the number. But halving the number is new to you right now, so that might not make sense. But if you take 10, and when I say half the number, I just mean break it into 2 equal groups. So I'm going to break this into 2 equal groups. And how many are in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 10. If 10 is your product for times 2, your factor in was 5. All right, I hope that makes sense. I'm going to be posting more about factors and products and practicing this more as we go along. All right, 2. Now, 2 times 2 times 2. 2 groups of 2 is 2 plus 2, 4. Now this one, again, they're asking us to figure out a number that maybe you don't know. And you could think, okay, well, I know my doubles, and double 9 is 18, and you would be correct. That's another way to think of it. But if you're still struggling to understand this, then I want you to do me a favor. You can pause the video, go and get something that you can build an array with. So whether that is Lego bricks, whether that is pennies, whether that is little pieces of paper, whatever you have around, we're going to build this array together just to explain it. So you can go and grab something and then you can build the array with me if you want. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So I'm going to move my dice onto here so you can see them. I'm going to put a clear background so that it's not as distracting for you. So I've got my array of 18. Okay, so I have 18 and I'm going to put it into 2 groups so that I can see what my groups are. So here are 18. Hope you can see them all. So I've got all my dice here and I'm going to start breaking them into groups of 2. Okay, 2, 4, 6. I have ink on my hands. That's okay. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. So I don't know if I might need to turn my array so that you can see it really well. Because my book, actually I just have to lift up my book. Hold on. All right, so this is my array of 2 groups of 9. Okay, so I've taken 18 and I've broken it into 2 equal groups, and I have 9 in each group. So all that's telling me is that if I have 18 in my out of my machine, right, that means I would have had to do 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, 9 times 2 is 18. All right, let's continue. 7, double 7, 14. Now 12, you can think, I know times 2 is a double, so something times 2 is going to be 12. let's build that array to help you. Okay, so if you already know your double, something times 2 is 12. You already know your double. That's great. Let's build it just to be sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I have 12 here. Here's my group of 12. I'm going to break it into groups of 2, right, so that I can see what my number is that I doubled to get 12. And I know some of you at home are screaming, but Mrs. Oaks, we know our doubles. We practiced our doubles since September. I know. I'm just making sure that everyone gets what they need. So looking here, even if you know your doubles, you would know. You've been saying at the screen now for like a minute. Mrs. Oaks said 6. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you are correct. Okay, so 6 times 2, 2 groups of 6 give us 12. And here we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2 groups of 6 give us 12. Okay, so 6 times 2. 2 groups of 6 or 6 groups of 2, which is what we just made. If you look here, we made 6 groups of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, now let's move on to the last side. You guys have got this. Let's keep going. All right, 20. Now, if I had 20 as my number, what do you think? I'm going to need some more dice for this. What do you think my original was? So what number, if you double it, equals 20? Think about it. Right, it's 10. 10 times 2 is 20, right? 10 in times 2 gives you the out of 20. And then we've checked our work by saying 10 plus 10 is 20. 10 times 2 is 20. 2 times 10 is 20. They're all the same. All right, let's move on to this one, 11. What if we double 11? So to double 11, 11 times 2, we want doubled 11, 2 groups of 11. So 10 doubled is 20, and 1 doubled is 2. So double 11, 11 plus 11, 11 times 2, all mean the same thing. They're going to get me 22. All right, now we have already done this one. So if you know your facts, you're thinking, oh, they've given me the same one over and over again. We've already done 12. We've already broken 12 up to find out what times 2 is 12. Okay, and we look over here, we know it's 6. And the reason that math sheets do this, they repeat the same thing over and over again, it's because the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, and the less you have to worry about it next time. Okay, so the more you practice, the easier it becomes. All right, 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, which is 8 plus 8, 12. Times 2 is 24. So 12 plus 12. 12 plus 12. I have 2 groups of 12, and they're 24. All right, I adjusted it, so hopefully it's a better angle, but it's a little tricky with my setup here. So let's do our best to see. So Miles bought a giant bag of jelly beans. Tasty. He tells his brother Hank that he has 162 red jelly beans, 89 green jelly beans, and 33 pink jelly beans. Hank says he has about 500 jelly beans. Is Hank correct? So first I want you to estimate. Just look at these numbers. Do you think Hank has about 500? So this is about 300. And then these together, do you think, looking at those, so think this is a little bit more than 300, and then these two together are going to be more than 200. Do you think his estimate is high or low? I think his estimate is probably high. A high estimate. Or sorry, low. His estimate is low because I think that his number is going to be higher than 500. So write down whether you think his estimate is higher or lower, just like we would when we estimate in class. So I think he has a low estimate of what's going on here. Now I'm going to work through, let's add them all up. Let's figure it out. So we'll find out the exact number he has because why not? We like math. So first we're going to write down all the numbers we have to add. So we have 162, we have 89, and we have 333. 33. So you could stack them all up and add them this way if you are really, really excited to do the math. And that is a little bit more challenging than what we've done in class, but I know that you could do it. So if you want to pause the video and do it that way, that's awesome. So you would just, even though there's 3 numbers, add your ones, add your tens, add your hundreds, and see what you get. Okay, I'm going to do it in 2 steps just to make sure that everyone is able to do it in their own way. So if that is stressful to you, you see it and you go, I don't want to add all those big numbers and I don't want to add that many. What we could do is let's add these 2 together to start. So if you want to do it where you stack it and work on it on your own, pause the video and go for it. If you want to work along with me on this, let's do it. So I'm going to first add 162 to 89. 162 plus 89. And again, if you want to add them all, 2 plus 9 plus 3, and do it that way, you can do that. I'm just going to do it in 2 steps so that it's a little bit more of a friendly number for everybody watching. Okay, so I use Grandma and Grandpa's way for this because that's the strategy that I'm practicing today. You can use whatever strategy you're practicing. So 9 plus 2, 9 plus 2. So 9, count up, 10, 11. So I have 1, 1, and 1 extra 10 that I'm going to put up there so I remember to add it to my tens. Okay, now I'm going to work 6 plus 8. Okay, I think, well, that's actually 7 plus 8, right? Because 6 and 1 is 7. So 7 plus 8, well, 8 plus 8 is 16. 1 less than that, my brain says, is 15. Okay, and I've got the ones there. I'm going to put the 10 or the 100 up there. And then 1 plus 1, 100 plus 100 is 200. So 162 plus 89 gives me 251. Okay. And I just know I said 162, and I should have said 162. It's a bad habit. All right, now I'm going to, next, we've added this one, and we've added this one. I'm going to add 333. So I'm going to add 333. Again, I just said and again. I'm going to add 333 to 251. So 1 plus 3 is 4. 5 plus 3 is 8. 2 plus 3 is 5. So his total is 584. It's a lot of jelly beans. I hope he shares. Oh, this question's a little bit weird because it says, oh, never mind, Hank says. So Hank is correct. I hope he's a little bit low on his estimate. I hope that he shares with his brother Hank because Hank did some good math there. He had an estimate, and the estimate was a little low. We checked it. He has almost, I'd say he's actually closer to 600 jelly beans, right? Because 584 is close to 600. It's closer to 600 than to 500. So that's a closer estimate. Again, this would be a high estimate. It's a high estimate. All right. Now, I hope that this video helped you and didn't make you too hungry for jelly beans. And make sure that you find some ways to practice your math over the next week. This was all of the assigned math for today. If you wanted to go check out a game or play a game, that would be another great way to practice your math. I hope that video was helpful if you were stuck, or helped you to check your work if you were all done already. Now, remember that it is spring break starting today. So this was your last math before spring break. I hope you have a wonderful break. Take some time to help others and be cheerful and spread happiness, but also practice a little math if you're bored, if you're looking for something to do. I'm going to be posting math games on my YouTube channel playlist called Home Math Games, so go check it out if you're looking for something to do. And remember, you also have access to Reflex Math, Prodigy, SumDog, all sorts of things that we use in class are available to you at home. So I hope you have a wonderful break, and if you're bored and you need something to do, check out some math games. All right, have a wonderful day.